Hello, welcome to Mondays with Mira, and this is our very first green screen and trying some different things, and I'm also going to do things a little different than usual. So I just wanted to show you a couple of books that I'm looking at the moment, mostly in the chapter books. One's a middle grade graphic novel, so let's have a quick look at those. Here's a fabulous non-fiction. This is from the Who Is It series from Grosset and Dunlap. I'm sorry, Who Was. And they have all these famous historical figures that they do biographies of. It's in a chapter book format. Here's chapter 1. We've got the classic black and white illustrations. And it's got pretty lively text. Sometime around 1820 in Maryland, a slave named Harriet Ross had a baby girl. Neither Harriet, who was called Old Rit, nor her husband Ben could read or write, so they couldn't record the year of the baby's birth. No one else thought it was worth doing. But Old Rit loved her tiny child and wanted to protect her. She hoped her little girl, whose nickname was Minty, would learn to sew, cook, or weave. Then she could be a house slave and avoid the back-breaking work picking crops like tobacco, corn, or wheat in the fields. So it's really nice text, very straightforward, very simple, accessible language, with killer illustrations that really help make it extra wonderful. I love this kind of line work. You can see it's pretty short, it's not that long, it would be difficult. It's only 102 pages, but that includes illustrations, largish sized text that's double spaced, it's got a nice it's got nice spacing between the lines. So it would be really perfect for a beginning reader. And you can see that it's fairly sophisticated looking. It's also got these nifty pullouts that I liked that gives other historical information. So this would be used in schools, it would be used in the educational market, but it could also be used in the trade just because of the more sophisticated art. But it would primarily be oriented towards the educational market. Let me just read a smidgen from here. Slaves brought to the United States from Africa were sold at auction to the person who bid the highest amount of money for them. In 1859, a plantation owner named Pierce M. Butler sold 436 slaves to pay off money he owned. It was the largest slave auction on record in the United States, and it was called the Weeping Time. The slaves, all of whom were born on Butler's plantation, were brought to a racetrack in Savannah, Georgia. They were put in stalls meant for horses while they waited for the auction to begin. By the end of the 2-day event, all of the slaves were sold away from the only home they had ever known. They would never see their family or friends again. So those are pretty powerful words there. So I think as a educationally oriented nonfiction, it's pretty wonderful. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's a really terrific concept. And on the back that I'll show you in a minute, it says, who was Harriet Tubman? A former slave who risked her life to help other slaves escape to freedom. A nurse who saved soldiers' lives during the Civil War. A Civil War spy who helped the Union Army. And then the last box, all of the above. Find out more about the real Harriet Tubman in this fun and exciting illustrated biography. And so here it is here. So it's kind of like a checklist. So that's it for Who Was Harriet Tubman. And there's, as I mentioned before, there's all sorts of famous people. And Grosset and Dunlap, the way it works is you send them writing samples, and then they assign you a topic that you then research and write about. I also found this reissue of Judy Blume, Freckle Juice. And you can see it's got this groovy new cover. When you open it up, you can see it's a little dated, more dated in terms of the illustrations, which are the originals, but they're still quite wonderful, and it's a wonderful story. It's really fun. I like how they've done the chapters in the reissue, and all in all, it's just very nicely done. And I wanted to point it out to you because this one's only 47 pages, and a lot of the pages have these full-size illustrations. So it might end up only being something like, 1,000 or 1,500 words, which are really not that much. But one of the things that's happening with younger readers, once they hit school, is a lot of them want to look more sophisticated by carrying around a novel rather than a picture book. And that's one of the places the chapter books come in really handy. So I just wanted to share those two chapter books, and then I'm going to just briefly share this awesome middle grade, and it's called Lowriders in Space, and it's by Kathy Camper and illustrated by the awesome Raoul III. I love his pseudonym, and the illustrations are just fabulous. They've got Latino influences and manga influences, and they're just very hip and very groovy. It's a great way to learn some Spanish language that's interspersed throughout, and it's just this really very, very fun story about these characters, and the characters are a mosquito, an octopus, and I think she's a dog, I'm not sure. Lupe Impala, El Chavo Flapjack, and Illyrio Malaria. And Illyrio Malaria is the mosquito. So lots of fun and just a wonderful, delightful car-themed book, which is really unusual. And here's, listen to this. Lowriders in Space is far out, and the illustrations are out of this world, because it does go out of this world as well. Love this graphic novel. Muy bueno, Amy Sedaris. And then here, only from the inventive mind of writer Kathy Camper could come such genius, a book for kids that has it all. Kooky characters, cool cars, and outer space no less. Not to mention a high-interest graphic novel form full of hip and hop, sure to grab the wits of the most reluctant of readers. What more could readers ask? And that's from Megan MacDonald, best-selling author of the Judy Moody and Stink series. And Judy Moody and the Stink series are chapter books series. So I'm in the world of chapter books and a little in the world of middle grade, and I'm just having a really great time here. So I'm going to keep this nice and short, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you check out these books. Lowriders in Space. Ta-da! Judy Blume's classic, Freckle Juice. And some of the Who Was Harriet Tubman books. So I hope you enjoyed today's Mondays with Mira. That's it for now. Bye.